Hello, everybody. Welcome. We will soon start, but just to break through the silence. Shall we start?
Yeah, sure. Welcome everyone to this first edition of the Hungry for Exchange webinars. I see a lot of familiar faces, but also quite a lot of unfamiliar faces, so that's really nice. I will quickly introduce the webinar series first. So we're here today on the first edition of Hungry for Exchange, which is a series of 6 interactive webinars where municipalities and also other initiatives working on food systems transformation can showcase themselves. And on top of that, we are having a central approach to telling stories and exchanging experiences with one another, but also having an interactive engagement with the audience. Today we have speakers from Bologna, Italy, Kolding in Denmark, and Castelo Branco in Portugal. And while the stories will show a variety of insights, we have a common theme today, which is connecting with people. And this is a key lesson learned in the process of kickstarting change towards more sustainable food systems. And this is what most of the stories today will connect to in different ways. This is today's agenda. This welcome talk, and I'll quickly go into a bit more detail of why we organized this webinar series. Then we start. Oh, it's still turned around. We actually will start with a presentation of Francesco Lombardi, so that one is down below, from Bologna, and then we will continue with the panel discussion, and then after that we will go to the presentation of Helle from Kolding and Celia and Mario from Castelo Branco. After each presentation, we will have a meditative minute, we call it, which is 1 minute of silence to reflect on whatever has been said before in the presentation. And we will use a Jamboard, which is kind of a Miro or a mural, if you know those online software, where you can put down any kind of question or interesting insight that you gathered. You can also use the Teams chat if you prefer. So why are we doing this? Municipalities around the world have increasingly been taking a leading role in the transition towards more sustainable food systems. One exemplary case of this is the Milan Urban Food Policy Pact. I think many of you might know, which is signed now by over more than 200 cities around the world, and it's ever growing. On top of that, there's a lot of European funded projects that are happening, like FUSILLI that we're part of, as well as FUDI, which is a Bologna speaker today. These municipalities also increasingly take on an integrated approach to food governance. So this means that they might address different food domains, such as maybe production or consumption, while taking also environmental but also social challenges into account throughout these domains and food chains. So they might address issues of food security as well as social inclusion, and pay attention to livelihoods and environmental and ecosystem services. This is a very nice image from the FAO. The source is in there if you want to Google it. Very concretely, in the FUSILLI project, we are also taking a lot of action. In the FUSILLI project, in the last 2 years, 12 municipalities have been taking such an integrated approach. And after 2 years of working, a range of activities have been done, also from co-creative sessions to larger stakeholder processes, but also on-the-ground actions like working with urban agriculture and also food education. You can see some images here from the FUSILLI cities. We can characterize these processes all as experimental, innovative, and a bit blurry, hence this nice sketchy drawing. And we are learning as we go along. So we still have 2 more years in the FUSILLI project, and there's a lot to learn still. These blurry activities, these innovative actions in food systems, they often break with the norm, or they break with what is happening as a status quo. And this means that we in the project, the cities working in this, but also throughout the world, such blurry processes, they often face a complex reality where there are rigid structures, or there are what we call system barriers that can stand in the way of transformative changes. And it is really a question of how do we interact as we go along in a transformative process with these systemic barriers. From a bit more abstract presentation to what this actually means, in our research, both within FUSILLI, but as well as in our research and conversations around Europe, we find that many cities might struggle with how to convince their political leaders of the importance of sustainable food, and how to create political buy-in from politics. A second challenge that we often find is how to overcome the economic dependencies of producers mainly, but also other food system actors in a globalized food system. And another third one is how to improve the collaborations between and engage new stakeholders. And so no matter the differences between initiatives or between municipalities working on this, and no matter where they are located, we find that these are common challenges that many people face. And this is also why we organized this webinar series, to create a space for learning across these local and national boundaries. As we're all struggling with similar issues, we can learn from one another on how to tackle them. So very concretely, this is our agenda for doing that. We have 6 events. This is the first one, organized in the coming 2 years. Today is March 30th, and this is the first one. And at the end of today, we'll go more into the future events. I hope that was clear. And if there's any questions, do raise them in the chat. We can answer them later. Today, we'll start with the conversation of Francesco, then move to Helle, and then we have Celia and Mario from Castelo Branco. Yeah, thank you. And I'll now give the word to Francesco.
Thank you very much. So I'll share my desktop, my presentation. Okay, can you see my desktop, my presentation? Okay, then good morning everyone, and thank you very much for the invitation. I'm Francesco, a co-founder of Aquaponic Design SRL, that's in an innovative startup, and we're involved in design, construction, and management of hydroponics and aquaponics system all over Italy. Currently, within the European project FUDI, we are collaborating with the municipality of Bologna on the development and management of 2 pilots, Le Serre dei Giardini and Salute Space. The first one, Le Serre, is a regenerative garden center where in 2019 we installed, we designed and built the first urban aquaponics system in Italy. To talk about the aquaponics system, here we have an sample scheme of the 3 main elements that make up the aquaponics system. And first of all, we have 10,000 liters of emerged pond where we raise goldfish and koi carp. The second element is an aquaponic table with 2 health ponds all connected to each other and to the main system. And the last one, in the point 3, we design and install 21 vertical cultivation towers that are close up to irrigated with the water from the pond, and the water from the pond, thanks to a pump, goes to the tower and then come back to the pond again. in this photo, at the left, our left, you can see Luca, a co-founder of Aquaponic Design, is showing a child how to feed the fish during an event we held last year. Then here we have the aquaponic table in the center of the photo. The main purpose is to connect the aquaponic system to the visitors of Le Serre, like students or freelance that can use table to work or relax. Indeed, we have free Wi-Fi and free electrician. Here is the summer 2019, so the first year for the aquaponic system. Then last year in the summer 2022, the vegetation has exploded in the table, and now it's then here is Luca, where is collecting salad to take directly to the kitchen of the restaurant present inside Le Serre. During this year, so from 2019 to 2020, 22, 23, we organize a lot of workshops and courses open to the public, where we demonstrate and explain how the system works. About two years ago, another urban regeneration project called Serra Madre began inside Le Serre. The goal of the project is to regenerate another greenhouse that already present, and then that until April 2021, the greenhouses were abandoned. But in the summer 2021-22, we took part in the temporary regeneration of greenhouses by designing an ornamental lake connected to an artistic installation called by hydroponic cloud. So in this photo, you can see at the bottom the pond where we raise the goldfish and koi carp, because the restaurant of Le Serre is for vegetarian people, so it's not necessary to produce fish, edible fish. The pond, in the pond we have a pump that take water up to the hydroponic light in the top of the photo, and then come back to the pond. During this period in 21-22, we organize a lot of events inside the Serra Madre. Now the real greenhouse regeneration project is underway, and I hope that in the summer 2024 we will again able to open the new and final Serra Madre project to the public. Another space, the second space, the pilots of Bologna, is Salus Space. Salus Space is a multifunctional center with housing, arts and craft, workshop, theater, and so on. But first of all, is a community of people where during the 2021-22, we established a 1,000 square meters vegetable garden that is now directly managed by the Salus Space community. The products grown are sold to visitors and also to residents. Near the vegetable garden, we also create a bio lake. So here we have the community house in back the vegetable garden, and then here the bio lake that also has to collect rainwater and raise edible fish. We then use this water to irrigate, of course, the vegetable garden and green spaces at Salus. This year, in 2023, we two containers have also recently been installed, one for the mushroom production and the other one for baby leaf and microgreens production, or strawberry too. The first one is already done and is already product. In this photo, indeed, we were placing the first mushroom bullets, and in the meantime, we were also recording a video story for our YouTube channel, where we used to tell weekly about our work and urban agriculture project. The second container for vertical farming will be ready to produce in the coming weeks, and it will enable us to produce leaf vegetables, strawberry or microgreens. That's it in a brief. So thank you very much. And if you have any question, you can say me later.
Thank you very much, Francesco. This is very interesting. I love the pictures. It's really nice to see a presentation with such amazing pictures. It's very nice to see. I will copy paste in the chat right now the Jamboard, which is a link you can follow, and then you get to a page. I will also share my screen. And whoever has joined, you can write down by making a sticky note, take 1 minute, 1.5 minutes to write down maybe what you find most interesting about the story, or maybe a question that you have. If you want to write it in the chat, that's also fine.
Okay. Can you write a link, web link of Saluspace, LSR, and FUSILLI project? Probably it's useful for. I'll write in the table the link of website of LSR dei Giardini and Saluspace. I think it's very.
Yes, thank you.
Okay,
that's good.
Jonathan, can you show where you add the sticky note? I think it's not clear to everyone.
Yeah, so here, if you can see my cursor, on the left, you can click and see a sticky note.
We might need a little bit more than 1 minute to go through the learning curve.
Yeah.
And then the next we do quicker.
Okay. Okay,
Seems like it's getting filled.
Yeah, amazing.
Do you
maybe
want to give?
as
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was going to say maybe as we fill it, maybe we can give the floor already to Baha.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
If you're there, Baha.
We lost him.
Uh-oh.
And otherwise, we can first ask, for example, Helle to respond.
Mhm.
Yeah, you want me to make a note to what I put into the board?
Yes,
Yeah.
please.
I was just curious. First of all, as I wrote, amazing project and place, but I was a little bit curious to understand the role of the citizens, or maybe the purpose of the house, in terms of so is this educational purpose, or can the citizens be part, or is it more that they can come and buy vegetables? So just a little bit more curious on the actual role of the house.
Okay, so we talk about Salus Space, is correct? In the focus of habitats of Salus Space is to have a multifunctional multi-ethnical people that can live in Salus. Usually we have students, but European or ex-European two people. The focus to the project of Salus is to create an enterprise or startup started from the people that live in Salus. So actually, our and our other organization for 2-3 years start up the enterprise, but then all the place go to a new society that grow up from the habitant of Salus Space.
Thank you.
Yeah. I can say something about this if you like. I am the responsible of FUSILLI, the pilot, this Salus Space pilot. And we are now working for this community project because it's very important to us to involve the community and the disadvantaged families that live in this housing block. So we are working to create new jobs, of course, but also to create a shared vision about the social and economic development of the enterprise. This is the reason why we started this, let's say, service to create the social enterprise. So Francesco and Aquaponic Design is supporting the municipality in this process to create this social enterprise and to fix let's say the target, because we have to reach economic and social sustainability in the end of the project. So it's still ongoing process.
And are there any lessons you can share about how to do this successfully, the engagement of this community that you're referring to?
Yeah, it's still very soon to say that something is effective really, but it's very important to create since the beginning communication and involvement of the community, also in sharing the vision and the possible economic scenarios of this project. So this is the first step that we already started, and now we are giving a new service to another enterprise who will create a business plan, because also the economic issue is important, but also we include in this business model also the communication and this raising awareness that is also part of this project. So maybe in the end we'll be able to give you some feedbacks about what is successful, what is the best also methodology to achieve this goal, but we are still in the middle of the process.
Yeah, and I see also quite a few questions about the more environmental sustainability aspect of it. So I see comments about the energy use. Do you have any lessons learned regarding that already?
Yes, we try to combine all elements of sustainability. So we are working with solar energy, with recovery of water systems to reuse the raining water. So this is also part of education of the community. So the community is aware of which are the sustainability goals, and we are sharing all the let's say the activities we do. So municipality is and within FUDI is taking the decisions, but all decisions are already shared with the community. So this is part also of education work. For especially foreigners and refugees, it's very challenging, this issue of sustainability, because from their experience, this is not a very important problem. They have other problems to solve. So it's also slow and different levels of awareness that must be taken into consideration. So it's a longer process. It's not such a easy task not to raise awareness in all the community about this. It's quite a complex task.
Yeah, thanks for sharing. I also see a comment in the Jamboard about soil. Is there anybody here who wrote that comment? So there was a question. I wonder whether you are having any conversations about soil and increasing soil health. Is there anything that should be explained about this question? I don't know who is the asker of this question. And otherwise, maybe you have any ideas on that. Is it Inti? Yeah, Inti. So about soil, how do you approach it? Soil health.
Usually in this system you have a lot of control of parameter of water, so you can produce more than the soil cultivation, but you don't have a different very different property nutrition by if you produce in hydroponics, aquaponics, or in the soil. It's only too easy to produce, easiest to produce in hydroponics and aquaponics system than soil. You can produce more because you usually you can plant in vertical. So in only 1 square meter we have above 200 plants like salad or basil, and so you can produce more and more in less space, but it's not a very different product by soil or hydroponic aquaponic system.
Yeah. Okay. And I also see a question about nutrients. Do the plant's nutrients requirements are completely fulfilled by the nutrients present in the fish water, or do they require inputs? So this is a bit about a technical question again.
Yeah, usually in aquaponics we use only the poo of fish, not require any inputs, other inputs.
Yeah, so it's itself like a cyclic system, so to say. Great to hear that you also try to find synergies between like the social, environmental, and the financial sustainability aspects. That's very interesting. Jonathan, how are we doing time-wise?
We've got 4 more minutes.
Okay, so maybe I open the floor then to I see Nina. Nina, do you want to ask a follow-up question on the soil?
Hi, everyone. No, not really. I just wanted to clarify. So thank you, Federico. I of course understand that, there is more that can be grown in aquaponic and hydroponic systems than in soil, and that it makes sense in some small spaces. But I also think it's really important to think of the, the fact that thereby we are not engaging with the soil, which is a really important part of, I think, transformation of agricultural systems and food systems. So I just wanted to know whether whether you have started considering that in your communities and in your groups, and you're encouraging conversations around it. But thanks for your answer nonetheless.
Francesco, you have any thing you want to respond?
Yeah, of course. Actually, when we design and install system hydroponics and aquaponics greenhouse in Italy, I have to go because I have a job in Tuscany, but it's okay. Usually we will create a new greenhouse in soil, because actually in Italy it's more comfortable and more useful to use standard greenhouses. Then I think it's very important to start to build aquaponics or hydroponics system directly in the city, like you can see in Le Serre dei Giardini. So we produce directly near the restaurant.
Great, thank you. From previous research, I also know that sometimes it can be difficult to engage people in new ways of producing food, if I may call it in that way, because if it's like rather a technically oriented solution, or it comes across as a technically oriented solution, whereas people still have a kind of more melancholic idea about producing food in soil and in the ground and doing it very low tech. Do you have any experience on whether these kind of persistent ideas about how food should be produced?
People usually when people see the systems, it very surprised that is how it can easily to produce vegetable in very small spaces. So a lot of people that see the system at Le Serre or Salus then start is a vegetable garden in hydroponics or aquaponics system.
Yeah. So it is they get convinced quite easily by seeing it and experiencing it.
Yeah.
You say, yeah, nice.
I have a question, Jonathan.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks, Baha from Demir. Thank you, Francesco, Inti, for this very interesting presentation. I have one question and comment on replicability and sustainability of these initiatives. The first two, I mean, the aquaponics and the glass houses, are obviously more technically and financially intensive, and the replicability is dependent on receiving this input. Whereas when I look at Salus, I found a very interesting social organization there that actually cares for the needs of the community there. So it seems like, and it's also low key, low tech, and low budget, because it doesn't really require a lot of input in terms of technology and finance. So it seems like that this grassroots, or let's say residential related application, has a great opportunity to multiply and be repeated elsewhere in the city. I don't know in Bologna, but in a lot of southern cities, I'm sure this would be an interesting model. But your sustainability evaluations on economic and social impact, I think, will be very valuable for any further application of this the Salus community project. Thank you, Inti, for the explanations.
Thank you, Ba. Yeah, I also think that in the Jamboard there's in the Jamboard there's quite some mentioning of other similar projects. I see people wanting to connect from the UK, as well as in Amsterdam there was an example from Mediamatic. So it might be nice also to, if not already aware, look into that / reach out. Thank you so much, Inti and Francesco. We will now move to Helle from Kolding. I'll share my slides then, Helle, and then you can talk.
Thank you. And hello, everyone. It's really nice to be able to share the learnings we have had so far in Kolding. So my name is Helle Villsboll, and I'm the project manager of the FUSILLI project in Kolding. I don't know if you all know, but we are 2 years into the project. So what I will be sharing is the learnings we have conducted so far during the first 2 years So looking back at those, and how would we probably address the journey if we were to start today with the learnings we have. So hopefully some inspirations on where or how you can start this journey if you are just about to embark on it or in the middle of it. I have requested to take control, either Regina or Jonathan, so I can move in the slides.
I don't know if that works, but
okay, then I will have to ask you to press again.
Cool.
Maybe every time I do like this, can you?
Yeah, that's good.
Change or press enter. Thank you. So I think what's important to understand is really the context of Kolding. And we start from ground zero. We are very fortunate to be part of this project because it's been a true eye-opener. And really, for us embarking on this journey, we're really at ground zero in terms of previously there was not a food council. There is no food strategy or policy, no anchoring overall, you could say, of a food agenda. Yes, of course, food or the food system is addressed all over the municipality in terms of within the different administrations. So of course within agriculture or within the health sector, of course food is addressed, but not as a common thing or an overall approach. And therefore also we don't yet have a overall food organization, or you could say where does the responsibility really lie overall in terms of building a sustainable food system within Kolding. That's not existing or was not existing when we started. So addressing this, I think it's really important, first of all, to start with actually understanding your starting point. And looking at that, now we could see for Kolding, we're really at ground zero. So that would be my recommendation, really trying to understand what is your starting point. Maybe you already have a lot of things going, or at least some of the things I have listed here, which is also the case for some of the other facilities. They already have some of these structures in place. In terms of step 2, again, remembering starting from ground zero, I would really recommend to start building the understanding of your local food system, not only for yourself, but really also to have this understanding, to start building up your stakeholders and understanding out in the food system. And in terms of understanding your food system, it's of course a matter of understanding who are the stakeholders, the key stakeholders, the key game changers out there, but what's really happening, who's driving this agenda within your organization, within the municipality, within the political structure, but of course also out in the food system right now. So an approach could also be to of course work on a SWOT, really to understand what are you really good at in your, you could say, area. What's the strength of your food system? What are some of the barriers that you have? And maybe also understanding your city in the broader context in terms of on a national level. So how can your city contribute to maybe the broader food system of your country? Then a mapping of the current policies is also a great help to really understand, as I talked about before, it's not the food is not addressed in some of the different administrations already, and therefore food is also mentioned in some policies. So of course some work is being done, but really to understand the holistically, doing a mapping of the current policies, even the ones you might think, is this really relevant, to dive into them, to understand what is covered today and what is not covered, or maybe also what are we working towards today and what are we not working on. And then I think it's really important when you start to have an understanding, an image of, okay, what does our food system look like, then to start to build up a baseline. Because one thing is understanding it, but how good are you on a scale from 1 to 10? So what's really your starting point? What we have done in Kolding is that we did a study on the citizens' food culture, really to understand where are we today. We're hearing a lot, but what is really the case? It also allows us, of course, by the end of the project, to do a follow-up to see have we moved at all in terms of these things. But again, of course, also really to understand the agricultural, again, what kind of food ingredients are we producing, or what is our soil really good at? We are so fortunate in Kolding, we also have a fjord, so how can that contribute? How are we leveraging that, or what are some of the challenges in that matter? But as much as you can, I would say, luckily we start to be able to get more and more data. This is also the huge part. I mean, we probably can't get enough data, but this is also the extensive part. But where possible, try to support it. You can get data today on food waste, on CO2 footprint, etc. So it's possible to get more and more data to start again building up that understanding. Now, standing with all of this great knowledge, which at least I acknowledge also takes time to build up, I think now is the time really to start, you could say, rolling it out, sharing this understanding. And my key recommendation here to onboard people, to make other people understand, so the knowledge doesn't only lie with you, but also help your stakeholders to be able to tell the story or maybe just understand. And my key recommendation would be to try and make it visual. Provide your stakeholders with something so they can tell the story. Because what I experience in particular with within our own administration, but also the political level, because this is still new, talking about a food system is still so new. So what can you do to actually help them understand and tell the story? So I will tell you a little bit. Here you see the image of a storytelling movie we have done to both tell about the food system of Kolding, but also to highlight what was our starting point. So based on some of the early baseline we had we tried to, you could say, paint a picture of what is the food system of Kolding. And now we can really use this to start the activism, to tell the story, to onboard people. So overall, I actually see these steps as fundamental before you can start doing a lot of things, because if you're not able to explain what is the food system and understand some of the challenges, it's actually really difficult to get engagement and also buy-in, especially from the political level. So my recommendation would be to really spend some time to build that up first. Then moving on from there, so now we have all of this knowledge and now we feel ready in Kolding to take the next steps. So what we have actually just managed right now is to reach out, you could say, to more of the stakeholder rings. So we have identified our key agents of change. So who is it really important we get on board? We have set up an internal steering committee with mainly the board of directors and managers that are important. So again, based on the policy mapping and understanding where is food relevant within the different administrations, we have appointed some of the key managers and directors that are important for the steering group, of course, really to anchor this within the municipality. And then actually just last month, we had the kickoff of our food council. And again, that's also an outcome of the process we've been through, identifying the key change makers, and you could say the ones, the front runners within the food system of Kolding. So we have chosen a method where we have really appointed the ones across the food system, which we saw as key game changers, and included them in the food council. And in the food council, we also have the city council and of course, two of the directors from the municipality. So again, we ensure the anchoring and we start building up the knowledge and understanding and importance within our city council. because I think you mentioned it all the way up front. How are you really onboarding them? They might even have a complete different focus within the city council. So now when we can tell the story, it's easier for them to be able to grasp, but also really see why this is important. And then as a last step, with this knowledge, foundational knowledge, and now we have some of the governance structure in place, now we can start to, I would say, look into the future, because we know our starting point and can see where are our barriers, but also where would we really like to take this. What is the role Kolding should have in the food system of Denmark? What should really be our role within it? So we have started the strategic process now with the Food Council, and are mapping out how can we engage the citizens within this process as well. So that's the journey ahead of us now, and of course start involving but also anchoring the food system even more. Yeah. So to me, that you could say step 4 and 5 is really about building this structure behind. One of the things we're still missing to do is to figure out how can we anchor the food system, or the responsibility of building a more sustainable food system within the municipality. Here I'm hinting at actually setting up a new organization that could somewhat be responsible. So now I'll just show you a glimpse of the video we have created to help our stakeholders understand what is the food system of Kolding.
Maybe
Shall we paste the link in the chat?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because maybe it will be too much for your internet to see it through another presentation. It might not run smoothly, so you can open the link, the YouTube link in the chat to see the video.
Yeah, I hope everyone can watch it simultaneously.
Yeah.
I don't know if people can raise a hand or something when they have watched it, so we know.
Yeah. Maybe in terms of time,
Yes.
we can ask people to watch the rest of it later at home. It's a lovely video and great illustration, so do recommend. But yeah, if you want to continue with the last part, and then we can have some time for panel discussion.
Sure. It should also more be an example of how to try and onboard people to so you have a shared understanding of it. This is just highlighting who can these game changers be, and I think this is really individual from city to city. Maybe not the areas to look into, but how strong are they in terms of being game changers? So this is more recommendation really to understand how these different, you could say, areas. What kind of role they play. So everything from size and technology, the financial industry, and then of course your food industry and the corporations that's there. Then of course also both civil society and the consumers. How strong are they? In particular, I know now from the FUSILLI project that they play a very strong role, especially in the southern European countries in terms of involvement and what they really request also from the government and the municipality. And then, of course, some overall national or government institutions or guidelines, policies to be followed. So not only on local level. And then, of course, media has a power as well. So understanding and following, is there something going on already in the media space that you could either tap into or can be supportive and leverage? So more recommendation to really understand the role of these within your city context. Yeah, and then as the last part, I know we will get into this when we have the discussion later, but just things to consider, and I would recommend you to just pay a little attention to understanding what is best for in your city context. Is it a top-down, a bottom-up process, or maybe both? And really understanding what is your organization ready for. So again, understanding your starting point, but also what is really the strategic focus within your city, and how does this fit? How can this support where your city is going overall? Then also understanding is actually a need for a strategy, or is it a policy? What really works within your city, or is it an umbrella, or is it more to be actually merged into some of the current or existing strategies or policies? And then a key thing we're really discussing in Kolding, because where to really anchor this, what is the burning platform of your city? It could either be what does it support in terms of this strategic direction or vision of the city, but also, of course, what's really high on the agenda. And then, as I just mentioned, who are these key game changers or agents within your mapping that are really important that you understand and reach out to?
Thank you so much, Helle. In the chat, I'll put the link to the second slide, or in the Jamboard, you can go to the second page, where you will see a slide for Kolding, and you can equally, again, write down some questions, eye-openers, and takeaways. And we'll take a bit, and then we continue straight on to Celia and Mario.
Hello.
Hi.
It's Ines. Celia and Mario are having a technical problem, so the computer
hi,
is just
Ines.
starting. 1 minute, please.
Okay.
Otherwise, they
Thank
can come to my computer. Well, let's see.
Okay.
Sorry. Can you move up the? Oh no, I will give them my computer. Tá? Sorry about that.
Sorry, our computer just crashed.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
But you're here now, right? Yeah.
Jonathan, are you going to put the video?
Yeah, I can put the video. Regine, is it an idea that we try to play this one? for them to talk over, or shall we copy paste it?
I don't know. I think it will be different for everyone, just
Okay.
depending on the connection. You can try to play it, and we will also put the link in the chat, but then you have the problem that you will hear sound from two different programs.
It's without sound, this one.
Oh, it's without
Yeah,
sound.
so
Okay,
that's
that's
better.
good. But
Yeah,
I will
we take out
put
sound
the link
to-
anyway.
Cool.
Yeah.
I put the link in the chat. And do you want to say something beforehand?
Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
Yes.
Cool.
So it's
Welcome.
me, Mar. I represent the municipality of Castelo Branco, and Maria represents Maria. I represent Kata from Castelo Branco. Is the one that does this product of the month that we're going to explain you, and we want to thank you for the invitation to participate and to share our work. So we can start. So as you all know, Castelo Branco is one of the cities that have embraced this FUSILLI project in 2019. It's a practical example of our structure of our living lab is the collaboration that we have between the social gardens that you see now that belong to the municipality and give children from local schools the opportunity to learn more about sustainable agriculture practices and the origins of food, and also for them to learn to respect the environment. Our living lab also has a laboratory where new products are developed. We use ingredients from these social gardens and local producers to recreate local and seasonal products and analyze them using different methods and to ensure always the value and food safety, ensure nutritional value and food safety, thus combining health with sustainable practices.
Here you can see some products that are made. You can see the orange slices that you present in the FUSILLI project. You can see the honey that you made in the candy, and you can see the lamb, smoked lamb, endogenous product also, and our local landrace coffee extruded, and some olive oil that the children take in the social gardens and then take to the cutter to transform in olive oil. And here you can see our labs that are doing all the analysis to have safety in the products that are eaten, and also the nutritional analysis that Celia was talking about to you.
Okay. Each month we go to the food market at Castelo Branco, and these new products are presented to the populations, to our citizens. So we have our innovative FUSILLI stand right next to the producers that are selling there, in order to increase also the visitors to the municipal market. These are the children that we invited from the schools for them to role play always about the theme that we have, the product that we show them. Always engaging more, wanting engaging more with the citizens. We are also present on holidays such as Children's Day, Christmas, offering always products with as a sliced fruit, sweets that are made without sugar. Okay, we also offer these workshops and to the public and with nutritionists and chefs, local chefs or not, to help them to do products in the different ways, in healthier ways also.
Yeah, so a practical example that we are doing here, it's the first time we get to the market. We talk to the producers and they say to us they don't have any stands to put the crates of product. So they have to bring the crates with them, and in that way they cannot bring so much food to sell, so the income is low. So the project FUSILLI allow us to buy stands like metal stands, so they put the crates of the product, now allow them to have more product to sell and more income. And last month we are there with our action, the product of the month, and we see that they are happy with that. And then now they have more product to sell. They also have more space to like put the stand prettier with a little bit of decoration. And it's like we are feeling like we are throwing a big rock to the lake and make like a wave, and that wave come to smaller waves that are the producers and the people enjoying all the things that the project can do to them. And it's a really great thing to see the real reaction and the real impact of this project are being in the population, the producers, and the people who buy from them. So this is our presentation now.
You're just watching some of the activities we have going on during the years, okay?
Yeah.
Thank you for your attention.
Yeah, this is some examples of the things that are made. Some examples.
We don't have in 5 minutes. We cannot show everything.
You have
focus on
you have a product they are saying the project is 2 years old. We started last year. We have 14 now products made original for FUSILLI, and we also have a lot of actions doing with the schools and out of the schools, and the vertical gardens are now a big thing. They are now in the market also, and to bring pollinators and change the air dynamic and the pollinators of the city. So we are doing a lot of things, but this is just the example of what we are doing now.
Yeah. And it's helped us to raise awareness of the citizens that go to the market. They know, they ask, they engage a lot.
Yes. Yeah, it's going very nice.
Thank you so much, guys, for this really nice video illustration. Yeah, also for me, I said it before, it's really nice to see everything so to life in the videos. There's a lot of, you can see that you're doing a lot of different things. I pasted in the chat the Jamboard or the third slide as well for Castelo Branco. So you can all take some time if you want and write down some questions or interesting points. In terms of time, I would like to straight dive into discussing a bit the differences or asking some of the questions already. And while Castelo Branco might get some questions, I would first like to see those asked to Kolding and Helle. Just I see that there's a lot of people already that say that they're really appreciating the fact that you explained a lot of the steps and that it's an excellent illustration of the extensive work you put in understanding the status quo. So there's some compliments there. Maybe in terms of time, I think this might be interesting, also connecting most to the theme. So there's this one question in the pink post-it, Helle. How did you approach your stakeholder mapping in order to fully understand the food system? And did you have any difficulties encountered? I don't know who put that in, if they want to explain a bit more the question, but otherwise go ahead.
I think at least I can try to start or answer how I understand the question. This is an ongoing task. Of course, I think I'm adding to the stakeholder map almost every day. But in terms of a starting point, in FUSILLI, we have a list of actions that we have to work with during the project, and they go across the food system. So it's actions where you come across basically the entire food system. So as trying to understand how can we approach these actions, we simply started reaching out to the different stakeholders. So this is everything from school gardens, so reaching out to schools to understand that, to canteens, to hotels, to restaurants. So I would say maybe starting within one area. There are some things that were already going on in Kolding. So I would say that's actually where we started. Reaching out to the obvious ones, connecting with them, and you could say as soon as you start connecting, they give you new recommendations or people to reach out to, and you start to understand that context. And then again, I would say the actions that were given by FUSILLI also helped us or guided us in terms of what are the areas that are really important to understand, who are the stakeholders within those areas. And then start simply reaching out to them. That's the more local ones. And again, Kolding, I should say, isn't so big a city, so maybe it's a little bit of a more simple task, even though I would say it is rather huge, and at some point you might also have to stop the process. But then, of course, there's also the national part, understanding some of the greater connections. But I would say a very almost ringing the doorbell approach, looking what are the areas that we really need to understand and find out who are the key stakeholders within those areas. And then we reached out.
Thank you. I was thinking maybe Inti or Francesco, if he's still here, would you like to comment, or did you have anything that's on your mind after hearing these stories?
Yeah, I'm here, but unfortunately I was interrupted, so I didn't follow the whole presentation. I'm sorry.
Don't
But
worry.
it sounds very nice. Thank you.
If I can comment, because I think another interesting question that I see on the board, I think there are many, but in terms of what I mean with the burning platform, I think that's maybe important, because I think we are fortunate, you could say, in Kolding or Denmark, that we might not have such a burning platform. And what I mean by that is that in some cities, there's an obvious starting point. Maybe it's hunger, maybe it's poverty. So trying to get food out to everyone, or ensuring food at the school, that's not happening in Denmark. And it's actually not yet identified as one of the key things. It could also be health or obesity in terms of really wanting to address that. So that's what I meant when I also said, what are some of the strategies or focuses of the city already? And if health or obesity is really a key burning platform to address that, then that's maybe a really strong hook to start addressing the food system and some of those areas. It could be the CO2 footprint, which is maybe the whole climate thing, which is maybe the hook that I will be reaching out to, because there we have some targets, and it's really a key focus also within our sustainability strategy. So I hope that gives a little bit of a context to what I mean with a burning platform. It is a key thing that is important for the city to solve within the next coming years.
Yeah, great point. Also, so looking at what comes together, right? So maybe in terms of both the policy as well as what is happening on the ground, like you're saying.
Yeah, because then you have the politicians listening, probably also the municipality, and you build a vision that goes hand in hand with what you really want to achieve as a city.
Yeah, maybe connecting that to Castelo Branco. Celia and Mario, do you have an idea? What is your burning platform? Like what has been your what's going on in your city that you're latching onto?
What you are latching on?
Like what is what Helle is describing. So really, for example, focusing on food education, that's crucial in Kolding because it's not happening.
Yeah.
No, we do have that.
Okay,
what is missing? We are going on with the Food Policy Council, and it's not being easy at all. This is one of the things that we have been saying in the other meetings that we have online. The Food Policy Council is not being easy to join everyone, the stakeholders, and not only our stakeholders, but realizing in the city who can help, and not to be someone who it's an obstacle for us also. You have to choose wisely the people that you have in the Food Council, and that's being the most difficult task so far.
And it's about political yeah, because we lack of when we are talking about getting people together to talk about the food policies here, we lack on distributors that are not buy from some big enterprises and small producers. And the small producers we are getting them and we are working in that for that. But the distributors is a big problem here because they are all of the distributors are from big companies.
And they act independently.
Yeah.
They don't want to follow our.
Yeah.
They don't want help first.
For example, the one thing that's produced in Castelo Branco goes to Lisbon and then goes back to here.
So the product,
the short chains are hard to make here.
Yeah.
So this is a big problem here. The short chains. Creating short chains it's a problem. It's 1 to 2 enterprises that are doing that, but it's not a general politic, because for this distributor chain, they prefer to have center all the products and then make to the different regions.
Yeah.
And this is a big problem for us here.
And it's all connected with the national laws. National laws are not aligned with the short chains.
Yeah. You have to change that.
Yeah, in the public in public procurement, we have a lot of issues doing that, because we have to always go by the national rules, and they don't care about what we are trying to do here. We cannot create rules here only for the municipality. It's not easy to do that. We have the will. We have the will and some political change here, but not national political change.
Yeah.
Do you see the
Maybe
difference?
maybe connected to that. So the difficulty to onboard people on the Food Policy Council. I see a question from Tracy in the chat. Maybe you also have some advice related to something similar that you're also working on. So how to engage with the more hard to reach communities who are potentially those who would benefit the most. For example, those who may be working long hours, have low income or poor diet.
In that case, the food policy we want to gather already, because we have already social associations that do that. And what we want to do is to connect them all, because honestly, there's a lot of associations that already do that. Already, but you just need to bond them, even to the local producers that have the surplus in the production. We want to connect, and that's the thing that we are doing right now.
That will be great. The produce that will not sell, give to that association, so they all work together, because there are like 5 of them here, and they all work separately for the same people. So it's we can all work together. So the Food Policy Council is also that aim of bringing people together and working together and not individually.
Talk the same language, because they're already doing that. We just want to show them. In the last meeting, we have that discussion that we want to show them that there's already infrastructure, and we want everybody to use it, so in a more efficient way.
So mainly connecting, right? So connecting to what is already there. In
our case, because you have that platform here.
It's interesting to hear you say that, and I, at least speaking from what I hear from other FUSILLI cities, that is a big strategy. And I mean also connecting to what Helle was just saying, right? So establishing really what is already happening and who is already working on what, even if it's not related to the question that Tracy was directly
about Nina, also the comment of Nina, the marginalized communities here, they are the people that are most helped here in Castelo Branco. Here, we cannot say that, because they are really, really helped. These associations we have several, and they look for helping them. So in the case that we now realize that most of them don't want to work anymore because they have everything for free. That's the issue that we are realizing now in Castelo Branco, okay?
Because these associations give free lunches and dinners all week around to that kind of people that happen here. A lot of associations do that. If you have low income or any problem, they give free lunches and dinners, 2 meals a day, hot meals a day.
Hot meals. So they don't want to cook. They say to the association,
that's another problem.
We don't want to cook. We don't need to cook. We don't need to work. That's what's happening now.
That's the problem.
Okay, well, thank you for the insight. I'm afraid that we are running against the time. So I would really like to thank you also, Mario, Celia, and Helle for the last talk, and Inti and Francesco for before. This was our first Hungry for Exchange webinar. I put down on the screen the schedule. The next one will be on June 8th, probably from 10 to 11. they will be part of a larger conference. So whoever's interested, feel free to follow us. And the conference will be about feeding cities and have way more activities happening around similar themes that we discussed today. This is the flashy illustration to support that conference. So hope to see you there. We'll send this around as well. Thank you so much for everyone. Thank you also for your questions and your insights for the audience. It's been a pleasure, and especially thanks, of course, to Francesco, Helle, Celia, and Mario again. And have a nice day. If you are interested to present during one of the next webinars, also feel free to send me an email. You can see that here.
Yeah. Thank you so
All
much.
right, guys. Thank
If
you.
you want any questions, you can send us an email.
Yeah, you can also do that through me, and then I can send it to the
You
rest.
can send, to us. Yeah.
Thank you.
And I can send around the slide as well, right? The
Yeah.
PDF of this presentation, so that would be accessible for
Yes,
all
do
of
that.
you.
Thank you, guys. Ciao.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye.